Hi everybody, it's Lace, and this is going to be another tutorial video. It's going to be kind of random information we're going to cover. There's been a change for the song folder, and there's been some people asking about that on the forums. We're going to go over that. We're going to do a quick tour of the rowhouse greenhouse that's craftable versus the one you can buy in the store. And then also I want to talk about bindings and stuff on the saw table versus the carpentry table. I also want to explain New Britannia time because I've had some questions about that. When people schedule their events, they're scheduling them on Avatar Circle and other things, and they might say NBT, New Britannia time. So I'm going to cover that. I also want to go over the copy function, some ways to steal without getting caught as it is now, and then also talking about the change that they've proposed to that. A lot of controversy on that. I'm just going to talk about it, and I'm going to tell you some ways to circumvent it or whatever. They may code against me, who knows, but I'll give you some ideas for that. And then also I want to go over the royal scepters and stuff that lords and stuff have, and what that actually gives to you in terms of lot rental and things like that, because there's been some questions about that lately on the forums. Again, with all these videos, I kind of just pick topics by searching the forums of what I see come up or what people ask me about, and things like that. So that's why this, widely varied range of topics are going to be covered today. Okay, so this is a basic rowhouse greenhouse. You can see how it looks. The shutters right now are all set to closed automatically. I think there is a bug thing to make them open. One of the things with the shutters open, shutters closed is a performance issue. They are doing a performance pass for R37. Perhaps we might see these open. I can walk into this house and I can open them, and as long as I'm in multiplayer I will see them open. And I really like them open because when you're walking by, let's say your POT or whatever, and you see the things open, you can see the light in there. So you can understand why it's a performance issue, and why they have them set defaulted to close. A lot of people have talked about this. It's like, oh, it just looks so bad with them closed, and that was brought up in the telethon the 28th of November, and hopefully at least we can get whatever. We've got the glass up here and stuff. But this is the rowhouse greenhouse. It has the same default limitations in the front as any rowhouse. 5 objects. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. And the NPC also counts as 5. So if you want to sell anything, you have a limitation of 4. I really would, in some of the rowhouses, you get some space to, do a little bit of stuff, to place things. I really would like to see the rowhouses get some love and be able to place more than 4 items in a vendor. I think light sources, they could have 1 as well. So I could take away a plant and put up, a light out here. But what I did in my POT is I've been trying to put the lamp posts against the POT count rather than the rowhouse lot owner count. And that's probably a tip for you POT owners. Help your rowhouse people out. Put the light on your POT. Sure, it counts against your maxims, but it's going to help your rowhouse vendors have 1 more slot since they only have 5 total in front. Going along with that, if your POT owner hasn't done it, ask him, will you do that? So that's a thought. Going in, this is just the crafted. And this is mine. It's not hugely decorated. It's actually not even completed. But you've got this little room here. It's pretty cool. You can do, whatever you want to do. I've set mine up to be a cafe. And actually that room that had the beds and stuff, it's going to end up being a cooking station area. And I was going to, set these tables up probably with these. What are these? The cobalt red leather with nail heads chairs. I think they're like $2 a piece in the add-on store, and I've got a bunch. I just haven't brought them out. I may do that in here. I may change it. I don't know. You can see I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with that one, but I do want this to be like a cafe. I put a couple paintings up here and there. I haven't spent an enormous amount, but because it's a cafe, I felt grapes went well around the bar area, so I've got a little bar area. I'll finish decorating all this and stuff, and I've got a little bit of the Yule decorations going on with the wreaths. In here, this is again the grapes. I felt like for a cafe, it makes it nice and Italian and fresh to me looking. And I will finish decorating this area. And once again, once we open these windows, now in my particular location, look at that. Look how nice these windows are. I can see the whole crafting pavilion and people working and doing things and bustling around, the city and the POT and stuff. So that's kind of the view I wanted for my cafe. That's just one idea for you folks. Again, I'm not totally in love with my exact deco, but it's an idea. When you go up to the top, let me just kind of show. I don't know that this is the best layout for planters. I could have gotten a few more in here if I'd done something different, but this is what I've got. Please notice that in this area through here that's pretty thick, you can also get single planters. So if you're trying to grow, like you saw those grapes and the terracotta things, I could grow some things in here that are just, going to be movable objects, not the row planters, but, the smaller barrels or terracotta. So just keep that in mind. What I did here, and I suggest this for folks, is I put a wall shelf up and then I put a chest on top of it. It's actually quote unquote a trunk made from carpentry. And inside this, I'll throw in my seeds and my buckets of water and whatnot. And I just use that to do this area. I threw a bunch of wall torches up in here because, I don't know, I really like to be able to see what I'm doing without having to constantly, continually cast light. You don't have to do it, but the cool thing is when I'm out down there on the ground and I look at this particular row house, I can kind of see the light, and it makes it feel more lived in. There's some more row houses across here. Like we can see the plants growing in this one. Looks like they got some pumpkins. I'm not sure if that's corn or whatever. I'm not sure what they got going on there. But if they had lights, I would be able to see it a little bit better. I'm sure they can see into mine. It's almost like, hello, peeping Tom, don't be naked. Anyway, also, one other thing, I've got a plant at the bottom of my ladder. If you happen to come in this particular one, please use this to exit, because otherwise, if you just try to drop down, you will get stuck on that plant, and that's, just not something. I'm not moving my grape plant. Sorry. So next up, we're going to go to the row house greenhouse that you can buy from the store. Be right back. One moment. Okay, we're at the row house greenhouse, and you can see the front looks way different. You don't have all those ugly ass shutters. No offense to the shutter makers. Also, this one's actually on a village lot. The man that owns this, he actually had 2 greenhouses, and he decided to buy this. I'm not sure his exact motivations, but when we go in the interior, you can see it's much more polished. You've got these nice little wood running boards and stuff like that. It's the exact same layout. Now, when we go up here to the second level, the big difference is we have the shutters. This is all a glass view. It's going to make a much nicer cafe, but you have to spend in real life money for it. Same thing with the second level. Again, you get this nice thing here. I'm going to gripe a little bit because instead of giving us something kind of shitty and closed off, wow, why couldn't this have just been the made one? Do you know how happy people would be? I'm sorry, I hate to, be like this, but really, you make people pay real money for something that looks really fantastic, and you go, oh, by the way, you can have the shittier version that you make yourself. And actually, let me qualify that. It's not shittier. It's excellent, because when we go upstairs to the top, which is what makes it a row house greenhouse, it is basically exactly the same, other than it's just got nicer wall boundaries and stuff, and tile floor instead of something else. I don't know. Sometimes I just get a little pissy about, really, why couldn't we have all had just nice glass views? You did it so it wasn't a performance issue, but why couldn't everybody have just made one of these with nice glass windows? That would have been really cool if everybody could have had that, instead of going, oh, you're going to have to pay $100 to get these glass windows. Otherwise, you got to sit there and manually open and close your shutters. I don't know. That just seems kind of money grubbing. And I'm sorry. I'm sure I'm going to get beat on the head by folks, but that's how I feel. But anyway, that's the ornate row house greenhouse. The only difference is the wall barriers, and you get these nice windows in front. And they are nice. Wow. Okay. Saying enough about that. Already complained. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is that for people that like to play music, you know, you equip an instrument and you can play any ABC or MML file that's in your song directory. But recently they changed where that was. Actually, it's been changed a couple times, but basically it's now in your quote-unquote app data file. That's going to be pertinent to Windows users. For Linux and stuff, I'm not going to be able to help you because I don't have a Linux machine running right now. But let me show you. I'm on a Windows 10 machine, and I can kind of tell you about how it'd be on a Windows 8.8.1. I don't have a Windows 7. Yeah, I don't have a Windows 7 set up right now, but I do have an 8 and I have a 10. So it's basically app data. So let me show you that one moment so I can get these screen captures in without showing too much of my information. Give me a moment. Okay, you're going to want to hit your Windows key if you're on a Windows system. If you're on Linux and stuff like that, I'm sorry I don't have one to show you. And you can do a start, run, and app data is what you're going to do. This works for Windows 10. For Windows 8 and stuff, there's also a run command where you just type this in. When I hit OK, it's going to take me into my folder. Now, I'm going to switch and change this view because I don't want you to see my name and stuff like that, you know. But basically, I'd hit OK. When I go into app data, and then I'm going to show you how to navigate from there. Again, I'm showing this kind of cut off and stuff, just because of the way the directory's showing and stuff. But where we're going to want to go is roaming, and then we're going to go into Portalarium, and we're going to go, obviously, into Shroud of the Avatar. Now, in chat logs, when people say, what level am I? Because even though this game doesn't have levels, we all tend to say, what level am I in comparison to something else? Well, you know, that depends, because since you could specialize in pole arms, and then you could specialize, let's say, in sword and board, you could be adventure level, I don't know, I'm just making up a number, 60. But really, in pole arms, you're only at 20, and in sword and board, you're an 80, and it's going to average out. So that adventure level is an average of all your skills. So somebody going, I'm adventure level 80. Yeah, but is that the exact build that you built from the beginning, or is that a pool of everything? So don't get too caught up on adventure levels. But anyway, I'll show you again. You can do /stats and then go into chat logs and then find your character, and the last thing, and you know, obviously at the bottom of that text file, you'd be able to see your adventure level. But don't get too caught up on that, and don't get caught up on somebody going, I'm adventure level 80. Well, adventure level 80 in what? Are you doing two different things? Are you building a multi-class tune? Are you a singly focused tune? It can have different meanings. Don't tie into the numbers. It doesn't mean that much. It is nice to be able to gauge your progress and give you some kind of progress that the game doesn't naturally provide, to know that you're at least advancing, but don't get too caught up in it. Really, we were just supposed to be in here about the sheet music and the songs, but there you go. That's where it's at. Save games, I believe that's for the offline mode. And then custom books, if you save text documents in there, you can import that when you're going to the Magic Printing Press to print things. That's a whole nother ball of wax that we've covered in other videos. And I think Viren just recently put up a pretty good guide on the forums. Look under player created resources for that. This next thing I want to show you is probably going to help a few carpenters and stuff like that. If I go to the milling station and I hit binding in my search, I'm going to hit binding. Sorry about that. Oh, I can't spell it. B-I-N-D. There we go, binding. I really don't have anything to do, but basically you can see it takes 2 timbers, 1 wax. I'm going to tell you right now that the yield is 4 bindings, okay? So that's basically 2 bindings per timber and 1 wax. I'm going to escape out of here. I'm going to go to the carpentry table because there is a separate recipe for bindings. And I'm going to hit binding again in here. Again, looking at this, it's 1 timber, 3 waxes, and a rasp. So I'm getting some tool durability going down there on that rasp and stuff. And guess what? It only produces 1 binding. Now I have bugged this, but it was something that, it was very weird. What happened is a while back, a couple releases, I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting 4 bindings per combine. I suddenly started jumping for joy because I found bindings. Bindings are used in mugs and a couple other things, and it's like they were so expensive on wood, and I just didn't make things with bindings. And then I found someplace that I could get 4, and it was from here, and I couldn't remember where it was. And then finally this release, I came back to it and I went, oh, I get 4 from the milling. I only get 1 here, which basically means I get 2 per timber here and only get 1 per timber on the carpentry station. So I have posted this as a bug. First of all, I think bindings, seriously, it's a binding used to make a mug. Let's think about it this way. A mug is made from 1 binding and some other stuff. It's a binding. It's going to bind a barrel. It's going to bind a mug. It goes around something. It doesn't take a whole tree to make one. Why do we only get 4? Why do we only get 2 per each timber, even on the milling station? I think binding should be more like 10 to 1, 6 to 1, something. It's a really crazy mathematical thing they've gotten going on there. I kind of commented a little bit on it, but go check the bug forums in R36 under crafting, harvesting, salvaging, and maybe comment. Maybe you have different opinions. Maybe you think it's fine, but I think it's odd that we have 2 different recipes, different amounts of fuel, and it's just really something's out of whack. Now I may screw us all, but hey, sorry, it's out of whack. The next thing I'm going to go over is time. Time is always an issue in any MMO, is because we have players from all over the world. And it's always, well, what is the base time to use? Well, basically, I don't know if it was the players or who, but we've established that Portalarium time, aka Central Time in Austin, Texas, is the 0 hour. So when somebody says 1 p.m. NBT, that means New Britannia time. That's 1 p.m. in Austin, which equates to Central Time US. That may be confusing for folks, but folks that are going like to websites and stuff, and they're saying, you know, your time deviation from where you live to what, you're going to want to go off Central Time. Central Time is NBT, New Britannia time. I always try to list my events as New Britannia time, so I'm not saying Eastern, Western, Pacific, whatever. I always say NBT, New Britannia time, and there's a lot of other guilds and stuff that do that. So if you go to a web converter and you're trying to figure out what time an event is, that's it. Also, if you go to like things like Avatar Circle or whatever, when people are putting in the events, they put the events in as what time zone they mean. So if they say 1 p.m. New Britannia time, that's 2 p.m. Eastern. So they'll put it in as 2 p.m. Eastern. And then if you go to the Avatar Circle calendar and you're logged in with your time zone, you will know exactly when that event's going to occur. I think there's some other websites with events. I'm not totally familiar with them, so I can't give you exactly how they do it, but I'm just going with the ones that I'm familiar with, and that's one thing. So when you see, if you go to the forums and you look under, you know, forums, persistent, or pre-access persistent events, I think it's called, you'll see the community events and stuff that are going on, and they'll tell you times and stuff. Just keep that in mind. NBT means New Britannia time, and that's modeled off Central Time, United States, Austin, Texas, where Portalarium is located. I hope that helps you with that. The next thing I want to talk about is the copy feature. When you see text and somebody like posts a link in chat and they're like, hey, go here, you'll notice that you can't just grab and copy and then paste it into your browser. But what you can do is you can hit \copy, and now that's in your clipboard. For some of you more computer savvy things, you know it's held in memory. And then you can open up a program like WordPad or something, and that's going to be, I don't think it's going to come on the screen, but this is Windows 10. Let's see, I can hit WordPad and open that. I don't think we're going to see this screen, but one second, let me swap over. So now I've got a WordPad document open, just like I showed you. You can just type WordPad. Again, Linux, however you want to say it. I can't show you, but for Windows folks, now after I've hit that \copy command in Shroud the Avatar, I can hit Control and V, and it copied everything into there. So, you know, let's say your good friend says, hey man, check out this website, blah, blah, blah. You can hit \copy. And it's going to grab, I don't remember how many lines it is, so if it's scrolled way up there, you may miss it. But if you capture it pretty quickly, it's there. Again, we showed you the chat logs, so it's going to be in your chat logs also. That's another option, but, you know, you go into app data, find your logs, and you got to find when so-and-so mentioned some website for you to look at and stuff. Remember, as a warning, could contain viruses, whatever, on the websites. Don't know that it's secure. Things like that. People could troll you. People could be gold spammers and all those things that come with any kind of MMO. But this is the legitimate use for it, where somebody says, here's our guild website, blah, blah, blah. And you could do this. You would do a \copy in game, and then a \V to like a text thing. And let's pretend that this was my website. And, you know, I'd copy that and then paste it into my browser, and I'd be into that website. So just a little tip that not everybody knows about that I wanted to share. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me in the game. Lace Delamorte, DELAMORTE, or at Lace on the forums, and I can, you know, expand on anything like this. Just one thing to note, I said it was Control C. Well, it's actually \copy in the game and Control V. I think I said something different, but it's Control V to paste into WordPad or Notepad or something like that. Just want to make sure I said that right. Sometimes I say things because I'm thinking, because I've done it so many times, and I say it the wrong way. But it's Control V to paste in, and \copy, literally typing that out in the text box. Also note that when you do it in the text box, you have multiple tabs. It's copying that tab. So if you have private messages, it's only going to copy the private messages. It is going to segregate that stuff out. When you go to your, your chat log and stuff, that's going to just have everything. But if you do it on a tab, it's only going to copy that tab. So keep that in mind. Okay, folks, I'm here in Resolute. Just because I just wanted to illustrate something. One of the things they talked about in the telethon is that they're going to start making it like if you steal and you get caught twice or something, they're going to turn you into PvP. Well, my personal feelings on this, and I try not to put these into the videos, my personal feelings, but I have already on some things, so this one's just going to be a personal feeling video. Anyway, my personal feelings on this are, they've said emphatically that they didn't realize housing was going to be a big deal. And now they see that it is. They've started adding more houses, more add-ons, and this and that. And it's funded the game more and more. So apparently they have a little bit of an audience towards that. So now you're going to take that audience that is buying your homes, buying your whatevers from the add-on store, and you're going to go, bad Bad person! Put that back! You can't steal deco. But you also cannot have a way to make it. So the only way to get this is to steal or buy from the black market. I don't find this a good set of options for an MMO. That's my personal feeling, and that's what I want to say about that part. Now, one option, depending on your pocketbook, is to make a second account. Just have them steal, steal, steal. Let them get flagged, delete them, remake them, let them steal, and just steal and feed to your main character. That is certainly an option. But let me show you something here that I figured out that may or may not work depending on what you're trying to steal. But I've showed this in another video. So we've got a vendor here. When the vendor sees you, I'm going to go over to tab 1 here. That shows kind of my everything. Just ignore all the other stuff. But when I go over to this tab 1, it shows my everything. I can hit E, steal. E, steal. She don't see me. She don't see me because I'm back here. Now, I haven't tested this with all the stealth moves. Maybe somebody else can comment on this. But I can just go through and I can pilfer from way back here. And she can't see me. And it's all about camera angle. Now, they may try to block me from doing things like this, and I may be screwing us all by showing this in a video, but basically I can just rob her blind, and that's going to work on anybody with a tent. Now, she's got a tent, but doesn't have a backside, so she's, you know, as soon as you move near her, she's looking at me. About the only thing you can do is have somebody distract her with, you know, put her in a trade and make her look at them, and then you can rob her blind. So you can work in cahoots with your friend, where one's in a trade. Yeah, go, Ruffian. That's my dog, Ruffian. She's commenting on that. She's like, I'm a ruffian. I will help you steal. Anyway, so that's one of the other ways to do it. But I wanted to show you different ways to steal without having stealth or undercover or having worked those skills, which as a new player you may not have. And also another way to circumvent what I think is just a ridiculous system to write code for when there's so many other things that need to be addressed. Instead of punishing decorators for going in, stealing some pieces of meat, or going into a tavern, watch this, let's see how fast I get busted in here. Well, this one isn't a tavern, but watch this. I'll start stealing stuff, and yeah, this is my main character. Oh, see, what? That's one time, busted. That's another one. Put that back. That was 2. And now I'm going to be called a thief, I think, when I take this one. Thief, thief, thief. So that would be the 3rd strike. And that would now automatically flag me for PvP based on the proposed system. Now, why spend code doing that when I would like to see more recipes that actually allow us to have things like these bushes, these flowers. You've seen all the azaleas and stuff. They have those assets. They have them. Why not let us craft them? Azaleas, they're like typically pink and white. Tomatoes and something white. I don't know, garlic or something. Here in Exeter, I can come here and I can pick these damn pumpkins, you know. But in central Brittany, the pink and azaleas and stuff, I can't get anything from. So that's kind of why I'm griping, is why spend the time and the money on mechanics to bash decorators, basically, is all they're doing, when they've already identified that housing is a huge aspect of this game that they had not planned for. So, off my soapbox for now. The last thing I want to cover is the use of the Royal Scepter, because I've had some questions that I answered today, and so I'm just going to put it out there in one more video. This Royal Scepter came with different pledge backing levels. You can use them once per month. If you look at the gray, it says next credit available on mine, 18 days, 18 hours, 31 minutes. That means I can't use it again. But if I could use it and I'm standing inside a player's lot, it doesn't have to be mine. It could be your friend. It could be a random stranger. You don't have to have any access to that lot. You can hit it, and what you would do is you'd right click and it says grant tax credit. What's going to happen then is a pop-up window is going to say, do you want to grant tax credit to quote-unquote the landowner, blah blah blah, and it's going to give it to them. Now the strategy to think about on this is, let's say you're just got a bunch of land and you've got stuff that's taxable. You've got a city, a town, a village, and a row. Use it on your city because it's going to give you the biggest bang for the buck. Then you get a second friend to come in and do the same thing, and your city lot just became free, and you only got to pay the taxes on your town, your village, and your row. So keep that in mind. It works the same way. If two people hit a row, that row is paid for the month, and you don't have to spend any out-of-pocket cash for that. I think a row is like 500 a day, is 3,500 a week, which basically, quote-unquote, in-game store items is 1 kodo. So a row house is 4 kodos. I think a village would be $8 a month. Town's a little more than that. I can't remember the exact increments. But these royal scepters also work in a way to offset that. Again, those were only available to certain levels of backers. Some people sell them for real cash money. Some people sell them for in-game gold. You'll have to peruse the forums for them. But this is their purpose and how they work. If you have any other further questions on these, feel free to, just send me a tell at Lace in the forums, or friend me in game at, well, not at, but friend me in game Lace Delamorte. Now, I'll be happy to answer those. Actually, I'm happy to answer any question I can. If I don't know the answer offhand, I will absolutely try to find somebody that can answer it. I think that covers what I wanted to go over on the scepters, and basically that was the last item on my list for this video. So take care, everybody. Happy hunting, and be safe.